All right, you YouTube nerds. So I went through. God damn it! I lost my guitar. There it is. All right. So I went through a review not too long ago about one EQ pedal I was using. It was the Sonic Cake 10-band EQ, and I remember saying, it's a great EQ pedal, and it was. I had no reason to really keep it though, because I'm one of those people that don't like too many options. All right, when I'm when I'm messing around with an amp or pedals, and I didn't really see the need to keep it because 10 band is just it's a great tool to have for shaping your sound, but it's just don't like too many options. All right, it gets too complicated, too muddy, too especially when you're trying to set something up and you have to adjust different levels at a show or right before a gig. So I ended up stumbling across, oh yeah, another Joyo pedal. And guys, I get a lot of crap for this online, about Joyo when people are talking, OD pedals and tuner pedals, yada yada yada, and they go insane. Is that, well, Boss is one of the iconic brands in terms of just overall functionality and reliability, and I always liked Boss, but nowadays I consider them to be overpriced and overhyped for what they are. And so I ended up stumbling upon the 6-band EQ pedal by Joyo because I wanted something specifically for the Joyo Zombie 2 that I have, mainly for the high gain channel. We're not going to even bother with the cleans today because the cleans on their own without an EQ pedal sound phenomenal. I mean, with the tone control, but with the tone control in the high gain setting, it's not enough, And of course, I have my Joyo OD pedal hooked up as a boost, where the gain is all the way down, volume's all the way up, tone's probably about a halfway, and I usually leave it on no matter what. So that's already going to be on. Maybe I'll switch it off during this kind of review demo thing we got going on today. So one thing I want to point out is I'm going to have all these settings off, right, zeroed out, okay, and I'm going to switch between on and off so you can actually hear that there's no tone suck. All right, there's no tonal difference between when it's on and off, which actually surprised me because I was actually expecting something to be colored a little bit, but it really wasn't. Let's see if okay. What did I do here? I moved something. What did I do? Is my tuner on? Ah, crap. Stand by. Technical difficulty. Okay, my bad. I forgot that I had the foot switch hooked up to this thing. So, all right, high gain only. All right, so off. I like the colors, by the way. They light up. Okay, so off, boost is on. One of my biggest complaints with this cab hooked up with this amp is the amount of bass that you get. It's not really adjustable when you use an OD pedal and you kind of mess with the tone control. So that was always one of my biggest complaints about the V30s in the H&K cab. I think it's the TM212. Real bass heavy. Even when I'm firing up the Stealth, I have to turn down the bass and the resonance a little bit. So anyway, let's hear it to see if there's any tonal difference. All right, so right away, no tonal difference between on and off, or off and on, excuse me. Boost is hooked up. So I'm just going to leave the boost on. For the EQ settings, I'm going to dial down. So let me tell you what we got. We got the 100, 200, 400, 800, 1K, and 3K. Yeah, okay. So 3K is kind of like a presence control. I tend to keep that centered, but I'll raise the 1K a little bit. So that's good. That's a perfect sound for me where the highs aren't too over the top. pretty sweet right there. 1K, so 100K, I think. Well, you know what? I'm gonna go back and forth between 100K and 200, and or 200 hertz, just to see which one is better for when I low and tame that bass response. Okay, so I'm going to raise the 2K back up to where it was, right, 0, and I'm going to try moving the 100K back down to where I just have the 200. I keep saying K. It's actually 100 200 hertz, not kilohertz. Just ignore that part. I'm just going to keep saying K. It's easier to say. Whatever. Fuck you. All right, 100. I'm going to raise the volume up a little bit. Okay, so I'm finding that I actually like the 100 zeroed and I like the 200 lowered. For whatever reason, when I'm lowering the 100, it's almost like it's sucking out too much bass. No matter how much I move it, it's just something's not there. You know, for certain amps, I'm sure this would work that have actually a bass control. But in this case, I think the 200 is probably perfect. So right about there is where I'm liking it. So now let's go ahead and dive over to the 400 and 800 and see if scooping the mids out a little bit helps, just with the overall sound and feel. Right now it sounds fine. You know, I don't want to scoop the mids or you know, crank them down too far, but just to see what it sounds like. Get that volume loss when you when you scoop the mids. Not quite scooped, so raise them a little bit. So I kind of like lowering those mids a little bit because it allows me to crank up the Joyo Zombie too, and you know, because it's a preamp tube, and even though it's a power, you know, solid state power section, I feel like when I turn it up, I'm actually cranking that preamp tube a little bit. Typically, with most amps, you crank the gain, and that's when you're working the preamp tubes. But to me, to my ear, it sounds like when I crank this up, uh, it just sounds better. You know, it sounds better like a real tube amp, which is kind of funny because I get, you know, a lot of people that would disagree with me on that. Whatever. I'm the one that's here in this room right now. So. One thing I do want to note though is that it does not have a dedicated volume control or level control like the Sonic Gate 10-band EQ. For me personally, that doesn't bother me at all. I don't really see the point to having a level control because it's not like you can use it as a boost when you have it plugged into the effects loop like I have now. So really, what's the point? You know? And for what, 37, 38 bucks, I think this is probably my personal favorite now. Not because I'm a spokesman for Joyo or anything. I know I've been hammering on the Joyo gear lately, but guys, I mean, you gotta keep in mind, like, I also got a Stealth 50 watt, and I've got two different H&K cabs, a 412 and a 212, so it's not like I only play budget gear, but when I'm home, I like having a couple pieces of budget gear just for home use, you know, or just rehearsal. You know, when it comes to if I'm going to play a gig, of course I'm going to bring the Stealth and the 412 H&K cab. You know, but for just going back to the EQ pedals, just shaping the tone and the overall EQ of something like this. And it's not like the Joyos are the only amps that have or that don't have an EQ section. You know, you've got a couple different Marshall amps that, you know, you have a single tone control. You've got Black Star series that if you're on the gain, or I'm sorry, if you're on the clean channel, they only have a tone control. Bugera has the same thing. So just something to keep in mind. I really like this pedal. I'm gonna go from on and off real quick before we wrap it up. Like I said, gets loud when you're not cutting the mids. Really, yeah. So that's kind of cool. That's kind of what I like about it. I might end up raising the mids, the 400 and 800 up just a tad more. So I'm gonna wrap it up. Not a lot of time here. We're not even at the studio today, but keep in mind, I think Joyo is coming up more and more every year. You know, they're building solid pedals. You know, not that cheap plastic shit from, you know, Behringer from years ago. By the way, they still sell those in case you're interested. You know, those plastic pedals that will last you maybe 3 months. So listen, they're putting out some pretty good products. You know, they're built well, they sound well, they do exactly what they're described, what they, you know, advertise that they do. So guys, if you have any questions, post a comment, post a like, whatever, and see you next time.